genre के cinema से जुड़े हुए हैं. Let me introduce them to you. We have with us Shaad Ali, who's the director of film Surma, also part of IFFI 2018. We have Mr. Mike Pandey here, who is a very well-known celebrity working on wildlife and environment. Welcome, Mr. Mike Pandey. And we have Mr. Ram here, whose film Perambu is also the part of Indian Panorama section. So all our connectors can send us their questions live here, and these celebrities will answer your questions. So let me start with you, Mr. Mike Pandey. We have a question for you first on Facebook. One of your movie, Gyamo, is here at IFFI 2018. Indeed. How you evaluate the space of such movies in commercial arena when we all know movies are a great medium to bring about a positive change?
I think right now, as we all know, the earth is in a crisis, and movies like this are so crucial. Movies on conservation. It's not about the beauty or the glory of an animal,
right,
but why it is so important to save a creature in one ecosystem. If you look at trans-Himalayan ecosystem, it's very fragile, and it's in, I mean, the glaciers are melting, and it's in trouble. And the people living there, the communities living there are in trouble. So the need is to bring this out into the open, because not everyone can go up to high altitudes and film this.
Right.
So as a conservationist, my team and me, Gautam, Doyle, we all went and spent almost 2 years and 3 months filming that. I think everything cannot be weighed in terms of money alone. I think the value it brings in putting into a state of equilibrium, a balance on the planet, is so crucial. And that's our हमारा मकसद यही है कि एक संतुलन आए इस पृथ्वी पर. And if we can succeed in doing that, even 10% of the audience who see this begin to think, the earth will change.
Right. We have with us Mr. Shaad Ali. इन्होंने सूरमा फिल्म बनाई है सोनी पिक्चर्स की ओर से. प्रकाश जालमी फेसबुक पर पूछना चाहते हैं कि there has been a recent trend of movies on biopics. How it is different from other mainstream movies?
See, in the end कहानी तो कहानी होती है
जी.
कभी रियल लाइफ से कहानी आपको इंस्पायर करती है और कहानियाँ बनती आई उनकी शक्लें और उनके नाम और उनके जो पैकेजिंग है वो अलग होती है, लेकिन we have been making films from reality and real life for a long time. But the only difference I would say is that it, especially if the person is living, but even if he's or she is not living, it comes with a little bit of जिम्मेदारी के साथ आपको फिल्म बनानी चाहिए, सच्चाई के साथ बनानी चाहिए, और एज क्लोज टू आप रियलिटी रखें, वो बहुत अहम है मेरे लिए.
जी. इस बार फर्स्ट टाइम स्पोर्ट्स बायोपिक को इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है IFFI में, तो इस पहल को आप कैसे देखते हैं?
एनीथिंग दैट इज़ अ पॉजिटिव थिंग इज़ अ गुड पहल ओनली, तो अच्छी बात है और ऐसा होते रहना चाहिए, बिकॉज स्पोर्ट्स एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट है ओवरऑल डेवलपमेंट ऑफ चाइल्ड और पर्सनालिटी में. तो आई थिंक इफ इट्स गोइंग टू मेक लाइक माइक साहब सेट कि 10% भी अगर लोगों को असर कर जाए ये चीज़ें, तो वो हेल्प ही करेगी. अगर 5 लोग हॉकी उठा के खेल लें या कोई भी गेम उठा के खेल लेंगे फिल्म देख के, जैसे हम लोगों के सामने जब 83 वर्ल्ड कप इंडिया ने जीता था, तो हम लोग चलो क्रिकेट खेलते हैं, सब जस्ट लहर है, ये अच्छी लहरें होती हैं.
राइट. सो कमिंग टू यू मिस्टर राम, वी हैव अ क्वेश्चन फॉर यू एज वेल फ्रॉम अजय यशवंत, दैट रोल ऑफ हीरोइंस इन तमिल सिनेमा इज बिकमिंग मोर पावरफुल इन लास्ट फ्यू ईयर्स, एंड व्हाट मोर कैन बी डन, एंड ऑल्सो recent years which her recent movies which mostly lead roles like Nayantara's. When will Tamil in movie industry start accepting powerful female leads?
It's not a new trend. Tamil movie always had a lot of female subjects, and long back then from 1970s it says. And I have a feel that the self-esteem of Tamil women have been changed after the globalization. They are improving a lot. They are independent and they can fight for their own rights. So it reflects in the movies also. And now female, they have money to buy tickets, so they'll come to the theatre.
Right. We have another question for you. Pavan Reddy on Twitter, he wants to ask that India is still a nation in which people are insensitive and still believe physical disability is a result of past karma and such superstitions. We see many movies also being insensitive towards differently abled. How do you think we can educate people to be more sensitive towards this?
I think because he's asking depends upon the parent movie,
yes,
because it's about the spastic child and parenting issue.
Yes.
And I have to quote a word. That movie I started from a quote of a parent. He asked me a question that nature made everyone differently, but treats equally. How cruel it is. Then when I was trying to find the answer, then I found out nature made everybody equally and treats everybody equally. Only we treat people differently, or we see things differently, and we understand things from comparing one to another. So comparing one people to another or comparing one to another is a cruel thing. You can say it's a kind of a, it's more than a, so how you treat a rapist, you should treat a human being. If somebody compares you with someone, such a cruel thing. So I don't feel there's no one is mentally challenged, no one is physically challenged. They are like that by nature itself. We are not able to understand. Actually, we are not, equipped or educated or cultured or civilized to understand their mind.
Right. So we have a common question to all three of you, that nowadays with increasing popularity of platforms like Netflix and Amazon, how do you look at these platforms, a ladder for new directors or a threat for theatre?
I don't think cinema going experience will be threatened by anything. These are very good things. Instant programming, instant watching, instant viewing is superb. It's on your fingertip. Great content and great cinema, great shows, great writing, great cultures to be exposed to, whether it's from Korea or Mexico or wherever languages they are in. Superb, superb landscapes to watch. But the effect you have with sitting with strangers in a theatre, laughing and clapping and crying together, cannot be replaced by anything else.
So your take on that?
I think evolution is part of life, and if with technology coming in and visual content available on the iPhones and the tablets and everywhere, it's a great idea. But as Shaad said, the actually ambience of coming together and sensing the energy in a cinema theatre cannot be replaced by anyone. It's like having home cooked food or having it of fast food. There's a lot of difference. Where satisfaction and instills thought-provoking films where you can discuss with each other. I think cinema itself is not under threat. The means is there so that you can reach the remotest areas in India or the world in nanoseconds. Great.
Right. Mr.
It will
Ram?
go beyond this also.
Right. Mr. Ram, your take on this?
Yeah, nothing can replace cinema, because I don't see cinema as a mass media, it's a mob media. We go there with 1,000 people or 500 people. It's a kind of a community living, and it's a celebration.
Right.
Of course, Netflix and Amazon, it gives a lot of advantages. You don't need to worry about censor, and it's democratic.
So now, joining to this question, Shaad, we have a question for you, that you have been recently associated with web series, and theatrical movies has been your forte. What has been your experience for the two formats? Which one gives you the more creative freedom, space for character development and etc.?
See, from the point of view of the person who's asking the question, it's a very simple thing. You are still trying to tell a story. Technically, what happens is that it's got a different process of writing. It requires a special kind of expertise to do, but you're still in the end trying to tell a story. And one should not mistake from our side, from the making and content creation side, के क्योंकि ये फिल्म नहीं बन पा रही तो क्या इसकी वेब सीरीज़ बना दे. आई थिंक उसका अपना एक अलग दर्जा है, एक अलग सिंटैक्स है, उसकी एक अलग मांग है. तो आपको उसको फिर पूरी तरह से उसकी तरह करना चाहिए. जैसे आप अपना पूरा पैशन और माइंड और बॉडी फिल्म पे लगाते हैं, वैसे उस पर भी लगानी पड़ेगी. वो उसके साथ आप कुछ भी सौतेला करेंगे तो उसका रिजल्ट भी फिर वैसे ही हो जाएगा.
जस्टिफाइड नहीं मानेगा.
तो वो इंटेंशन आपका राइट होना चाहिए कि क्यों कर रहे हैं आप.
राइट. Mike sir, we have a question for you, that what suggestions would you like to give to young filmmakers, especially women filmmakers, who want to make films on environment and wildlife? Is it difficult for women filmmakers to work in these areas? We were just discussing before the show the challenges you faced.
Yeah. You see, for women, I think the ground is ripe, and actually, agar dekha jaye to, if you think of the planet, it's a mother of all mothers, and there's nothing more powerful than the earth. And next in power comes the woman, because the woman has power of regeneration. No man can match her, ever. So I think women can do more justice, in depth, give warmth, give the emotional quotient that is required. Films by themselves are dry unless you tell a story and bring the emotion out. And I think films should touch your minds and souls and hearts to make a difference. And I think there are some girls already breaking into the field, and there's a Goan girl also who's broken into the field, and they're doing well. And I've got some filmmakers who are in Assam. Rita Banerjee is one name that comes to my mind immediately. She worked with me for years, and she's made a great film, which has been a great winner, has gone viral all over the world. And I think it's something, whether you're a girl or a man, you share the planet as equals, you're human beings. And together, if we put our shoulders, then I think it can be a blend, a mixture of something great. It's not a no or no-go area. Look at Mary Kom. She's shining there.
Yes.
And getting medals. And I think girls are dexterous, flexible, and they understand. I think their understanding is much deeper than any man's.
Right.
So wildlife filmmaking and environmental filmmaking in India needs the power of women.
Right. We have a question for you, Mr. Ram, that you have had experience in Bollywood as well, and what difference you feel working in different industries, both the industries.
I worked with Rajkumar Sandhu sir
Yes.
long back when I was assistant
Yes.
scriptwriter. So I was assistant that time. So and I don't know Hindi, so because I was learning Hindi and I was understanding, and it was huge and heavy budgeted. And
Right.
back to Tamil cinema, of course, we do huge movies, but whatever I directed, it's all kind of a small string movies, which I like. I feel whatever movie you like, you work, whatever language it is, the experience is same. So it doesn't make any difference, even it's Tamil movie or Hindi movie.
Right.
Movie is a different movie, doesn't have a language. Right?
All right. So we again have a common question for all of you. You all have worked on many scripts. How do you judge the commercial viability? And as judging on financial viability alone is correct? We'll start with you, Shaad.
See, the way I judge a film is that if it's touching me first, and I hope in such a large population I will find like-minded people, or I will not find like-minded people
True.
enough to take care of the budget of the film. And that is the only gut and only thing I keep in my mind as an audience. And that's the first reaction to any script or any idea that I am working on, is that whether I am liking it or not, because it will be very difficult for me to understand without knowing the people in this room कि इनको क्या अच्छा लगेगा, इनको क्या अच्छा लगेगा, इनको क्या, तो मैं शायद सबको प्लीज करने के चक्कर में वही ना बना पाऊँ जो मुझे प्लीज हो रहा है, तो फिर ना मैं और वो गलती फिर मेरी नहीं, उनकी, मतलब किसी और की गलती कर रहा हूँ
जी.
So I might as well commit my own blunder and figure out what's happening. Otherwise, I will not know where I stand, and I may not end up even having a voice in my film, and that will be, then I might as well do something else.
Right. Mr. Pandey, you must be having so many things to say for this question, because funding for wildlife, environment is a very big question these days still.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
There is no question.
Yeah. I think very well. The toughest battle we have
Yes.
is trying to get broadcasters, and all the money is out of India. In India, nobody supports wildlife films or environmental films, and it's only fortunate that Doordarshan has a slot where documentaries are seen and some of these wildlife films come in, and Earth Matters was their program which went on for years. And there was a survey by Times Magazine, and it said that 67% of people in India were aware of environmental concerns as against 47 in Europe or America. And a program went and reached out and informed people. So there's need for information, there's need for education, and that's priceless. So we do lots of other productions, and
Right.
whatever money comes, we invest it back. For me, I think it's a question of passion, it's a question of what drives you or gives you a kick. And getting a letter from the remotest areas in India and saying, look, I've stopped smoking because it's injurious to me. I'm done. If someone says, I have planted 6 trees around my house and I've named them after my parents.
Wow.
I don't let anyone touch them. We are done.
Yes.
That's the value you would need, because basically if you look at currency notes, our films are closer to life, and bringing awareness about what is close to life is so essential in this day and age, you know. So we do contribute, we have to give back, we have taken so much from Earth. Everyone needs to give back sometimes. The Corporate Social Responsibility Fund is for this. It is lying in lots of coffers not being used. I think the government needs to understand that education is going to come from the media, from television, from all the networks that we have, from films, from cinema, where people go. And this, if education is transformed itself from the blackboard and the paper onto visual medium, so some of the CSR fund should come. The government should support.
Perfect.
And then you get back. I mean, it's not a question of making money or mega bucks. It's a question of making aware your people and leveraging them, their thinking. And only then no government can bring about change. Look at pollution. The government can keep on doing everything, it will never succeed unless people join in. The government is doing its bit, but people need to join in, that it's their responsibility too. So I think when somebody transforms, or some school or some festival where I went last week, they said, there's no plastic here anymore because you gave us a lecture on plastic. So that's where the value is coming back to us. It's not in terms of coins or currency,
Yes.
but in transformation, in looking at people who have become thinking human beings, you know.
Right. Mr. Ram, your take on that?
Yeah, my take on that. I think nobody knows why a movie runs. And people, maybe they say they make a mainstream movie. I feel every director likes to make a movie which they can do or which they like. And if you ask me personally, I don't like to do a movie for a Friday release. I want my movie to stand for years. So I feel that's the commercial success. If my movie stands for 10 years, 1 decade. The thing is that it's not coming back to me as a money, but movie stands. So.
Right.
Yeah, I'd like to add here, you see exactly what you said. I made a film called, nobody in India knew about whale sharks, and we were killing whales and selling the meat for 1 rupee a kilo. We were killing 1,200 whales in 1 year. And when I talked to everyone, my scientist friends and everyone in the world, with Geographic, Discovery, BBC, they said, you don't have a history of whales, so what will you shoot?
True.
So with whatever thing I had and support from my family, my home, I put everything I had and made a film called Shores of Silence. Within 3 months, there was a law to protect whale sharks. We have the largest population of whale sharks in the world.
Wow.
And then we went to CITES, a global body, 186 countries coming together. First we got 3 votes, and then I showed the film. On the 3rd day, re-vote, 165 votes, and it was protected globally. So that's the power of a film. Even today, last week somebody said, can we have a copy of that? BBC, person from BBC, and he said, I want to use it as an example of a film that saved a species from extinction. तो अगर एक film इतना बदलाव ला सकती है, तो वो it's unending. I mean, कभी भी you'll never be able to make a film on whale sharks like that again. So it becomes part of history.
Right.
And that is very crucial. So it's films like these are timeless. Handicap, challenged children will be a problem with our society. It's a fault of nature. But as Ram said, they are differently abled children. They have other capacities, and we have to got to look at them in totality as human beings and be a support system. That's what society is all about.
Okay, I have a question for you that it is from my side, not from any of the connectors, that in this year's festival, if we see, we have only 2 films from the wildlife and the environment section. What do you think if we add a little bit of fiction with such movies? We can't remember a movie which was very hit, Two Brothers. So if we add some fiction with such movies, do you think that they will do a greater business or a greater approach towards the audience?
I think a well-made film, fictionalized a bit, and believe me, I have 2 stories. One of them is, but there are no funders, because I have been with some of the great, with John Abraham is a friend of mine, and I've been with him, and Amitabh ji and myself, we were on Tiger Telethon, we've spoken about this, and even with Salman Khan I've spoken. So there's a feeling among the financiers that wildlife में पनौती होती है. They're not lucky. They don't become hits.
बल्कि पहले उल्टा होता था, अगर फिल्म में जानवर होती तो फिल्म हिट हो जाती.
Hit हो जाती. But films like Jungle Book, look at smash. Look at a fantasy like Avatar, Lion King. I mean, these are path breakers. And I think अगर इसको fictionalize किया जाए, so there is a scope. But again, once again, you cannot do a shoddy job. चवन्नी में फिल्म नहीं बनती. तो अगर एक बनाया जाए, तो इस वक्त जो है, अगर एक कोई पिल हो, कड़वी सी, उसको शुगर कोट करते हैं, तो यही जो ज्ञान है इसको शुगर कोट कर एक फिक्शन में बना के जा सकते हैं, तो वी विल रीच वाइडर ऑडियंस, एंड वो ऑडियंस जहां हमको पहुंचना चाहिए। और वही हमारा प्रयास है किस प्रकार हम तो अगर हम ग्यामो देखें तो एक चेंज इन स्टोरी टेलिंग स्टाइल है, तो दैट इज़ टू अट्रैक्ट पीपल फ्रॉम डिफरेंट रीजन्स, एंड वो इतनी पॉपुलर हो गई कि अभी हमें एनिमल प्लैनेट से बात हुई तो कह रहे हैं 27 तारीख को प्राइम टाइम 9 o'clock वी वांट टू शो दिस बिकॉज देयर इज अ ग्रेट डिमांड फॉर दिस। तो दिस इज़ द प्रूफ, एंड इफ़ वी अगर हमारे बाजू थोड़े और मजबूत कर दिए जाएं तो आप देखिए हिंदुस्तान में जो फिल्में बन सकती हैं जानवरों के बारे या प्रकृति या पर्यावरण के बारे, विश्व में कोई नहीं बना सकता, क्योंकि ये हमारा ईथोस है, इट इज़ इन अवर ब्लड, कंपैशन। अगर हम आपको एक हथौड़ा दे दें कहीं एक चूहा जा रहा है, प्लेग्स फैला, मार दीजिए इसको, आप मारेंगे नहीं, लेकिन चला जाए इंस्टिंक्टिवली। सो प्रोटेक्ट, हर एक प्रजाति जो कुदरत ने बनाई है वो किसी मकसद से बनाई है,
राइट
तो इसीलिए हम उसका आदर करते हैं।
राइट शाद, आपके लिए एक सवाल है कि आपने संदीप सिंह को क्यों चुना अपनी फिल्म के लिए? व्हाई डिड यू चूज?
मैंने बिल्कुल संदीप सिंह को नहीं चुना, संदीप सिंह और उसकी कहानी ने मुझे चुना है और मैं उनका शुक्रगुजार और आभारी हूँ कि वो कहानी मेरी झोली में आगे गिरी। मैं बिल्कुल अपनी तरफ से ये कहानी ढूंढने नहीं निकला था, ये कहानी ढूंढते हुए मुझे ढूंढ ली कहानी।
जी बिल्कुल। वी हैव अ क्वेश्चन फॉर यू राम।
क्रेडिट खाओ उसका।
बिल्कुल।
Perambo explores a sensitive relationship between a father and a daughter. Do you think Indian cinema is evolving and now we are making films on issues which have been neglected for years?
No, it's not like that. For my first movie, I'm there for a decade. My first movie is about globalization, how it has kind of affected arts and humanities department. My next movie was about primary school education and globalization.
Yes.
And third one was male-female relationship in a contemporary era, and this is on a spastic world. And I don't know about other Tamil cinema always give a space for these kind of movies, and they support. And I strongly believe Tamil audience supports these kind of movies. So it's not hard to make a movie like this.
Right. So again, a common question. It has been mentioned that multiple times itself that there is a dearth of good stories in Indian film industries. How much you agree with this issue, and if yes, why don't we have good script writers? We'll start with you, Ram.
Of course, not only in Indian industry. I think all over the world it happens. So even in Hollywood or international festivals, the movies are not enough to watch. It's getting bored or monotonous. All over the world, the kind of understanding towards literature and art is changing. And the modern equipments, as everybody become a photographer now, and everybody can make a movie now.
Yes.
Now and people think by watching movie you can make a movie. And there's no study about psychology or sociology, and there's no literature background. Actually, writers or you can say script writers are lacking all over the world. That's what I feel.
शाद, आप इनसे ताल्लुक रखते हैं?
बिल्कुल रखता हूँ, और मुझे लगता है कि one has to be very accessible and open to ideas, people with new ideas, because if you close doors and become inaccessible when you are in a position actually to give breaks and be in contact with people, you cannot afford to do that, and that is changing now. Every big media house, every big studio is now started the old system of the story department. There are proper people in positions of power who are now looking at scripts from rank newcomers and all across the board. But yeah, there is an issue. हमारे पास, like Tamil still has a lot of Tamil literature, which is why their films are evolving. Our Hindi literature has been just finished. You know, there is no Hindi writer that is there in the literary world that is really making waves or selling or coming out in the open, which has crushed that Hindi literature world completely. I'm sure there are, but they are not there in the mainstream. And till that happens, till genuine Hindi writers start blossoming and flourishing, it will be very difficult to make too many good films. You know, you will be restricted to the films you get, you know, because that's it's like global warming. You know, it is a condition that is there. You have to deal and live with it. You'll have to deal and live with mediocrity. You will have to deal and live with Avengers and do with them, and not get, you know, very, very solid and very, very beautiful scripts. You will have to deal with the times. These are your social times. They will be reflections of the times of your living in.
Mike sir,
I think I agree with that. I echo that, because basically we are busy aping the West and doing a shoddy job. There is so much material in India itself, but there is a lack of focus and concentration and bringing out and evolving. Cinema is evolving, the whole world over is evolving, here in bits and pieces. But I think we need good writers, we need people who are more open and liberal rather than just cloistered and closed up and thinking it's a secret. It's not a rocket science. If I'm making a film, I'll go to Shaad, this is what's happening, what do you think? How can we embellish it more? Or I go to Anurag Kashyap and say, look, kaisa lag raha guru, theek hai? He can add a bit. There's no jealousy here, you know. If there is transparency, then filmmakers in India must grow as a community. Because we make the maximum amount of films in the world. But how about bringing hearts together rather than fragmenting ourselves? The tragedy with India is we have fragmented industry. Everyone, oh, hum Bollywood se hain, hum Malayalam cinema hai, Tamil Nadu hai, arey, this is so and so. Yeah. This is weakening industry. Isn't
it's
it?
all Indian movies, right?
Yeah, it's Indian
movie. They ask me
regional
film, there's nothing called regional film. Everything is
every
Indian
film is
you have to, it's cinema, bring out thought-provoking cinema. There's so much richness in our culture and heritage. Give us a chance, give it a chance to grow and, as you Shaad said, let it blossom. So blossom नहीं होने दे रहा कोई.
So मेरे ख्याल से कहते हैं कि दुनिया आज हमारी मुट्ठी में है, हमारे टैब्स, हमारे मोबाइल्स, इंटरनेट के ज़रिए हमने सबको पकड़ लिया, लेकिन सिनेमा अभी भी हमारी मुट्ठी में नहीं है. बहुत कुछ है अभी करने के लिए सिनेमा में.
कुछ भी हमारी मुट्ठी में कभी नहीं होने वाला है और होना भी नहीं चाहिए. आपकी मुट्ठी थोड़ी सी खाली, आपका पेट थोड़ा सा खाली, आपका दिमाग थोड़ा सा खाली होना चाहिए ताकि थोड़ा सा भरने की उम्मीद होगी और लेने की दुनिया से और नेचर से गुंजाइश होगी.
राइट. So thank you all respected directors from various different genres sharing your views with us. और हमारे users अगले अंक में आपके साथ मुलाकात होगी फेस टू फेस में कुछ और नए पहलू सिनेमा के साथ जो हम आपके साथ बांटेंगे. और ये फेस टू फेस जो ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया था, ये मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन एंड ब्रॉडकास्टिंग के न्यू मीडिया विंग की ओर से ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया गया था. तो अगले बार फिर आपसे मुलाकात होगी. इजाज़त दीजिए. थैंक यू. नमस्कार.